Hey y'all, I'm Alicia, and today I'm going to be discussing Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. I'm going to be discussing the book as well as the adaptation into the Netflix TV series, which I watched twice in a row after it first came out. I really enjoyed it, and I watched it right after I read the book for the first time. Like, I have never read it before, even though I read Six of Crows quite a few years ago. So, yeah, I'm just gonna get my thoughts on the differences between the book and TV show, and some things I liked better, some things I didn't, and yeah, let's just get into it. Okay, so the first thing I noticed about this book is that Alina is so much more attached to Mal than Mal is to her. At least, like, because again, it is from her point of view, so maybe we don't know completely, like, Mal's feelings about the situation. Maybe he just doesn't express himself well, which clearly from all of the books in the series. Actually, I haven't read the third one yet, but the first and second one especially, they suck at communication so badly. Oh my goodness. So yeah, maybe he's just not expressing it, but yeah, that's kind of the vibe I got starting out. And to be honest, I was really shipping her with the Darkling. Like, I know he's technically like the villain, he's the bad guy, but like, I don't ship them anymore after the events that happened in the book because there was just a few unforgivable things that would never, like, so toxic, not a good relationship. But at the beginning, like, I was really rooting for them because I feel like they have a lot more in common. And honestly, like, I know he's evil, but I feel like they have some similarities. And maybe he was onto something when he said, like, we're the only two people that can understand each other because of these powers we have. And everyone says, like, everyone who dislikes this book, even people who do, they say Alina is like really whiny and such a weak main character. And honestly, yes, she is very whiny. She complains a lot. She's very grumpy all of the time. But honestly, you can't blame her. Like, maybe some people find it annoying to be in her head all the time, but to me, like, yeah, she's flawed. She's whiny. She doesn't want to be there. She doesn't like her situation in life. And I can't blame her for that. Like, she was orphaned, grew up in an orphanage where the person who ran it didn't even remember her name when he met her in the palace. Like, that's gotta hurt. And the only person she's ever had is Mal, and now she's separated. And I'm like, you know what? You earned the right to kind of sit in your feelings and wallow for a bit. So if you want to be an annoying, whiny main character, go for it. So yeah, that didn't bug me as much as I thought it would based on like everyone else's, a lot of people that didn't like the book, their reviews about it. But yeah, it didn't bug me as much as I thought it would. A thing I will say is that I really wish there was more likable female characters in the book because basically there's Genya, but Genya actually turns out to be a spy and like a traitor, and she's not actually Alina's friend, not really. So yeah, there's really no like close female friendships in the book or the series really so far. Um, I guess I will not really know that until I finish the third book, but yeah, first and second one, there's really no close female friendships, which I was really hoping for. They did actually kind of, man, not really remedy that in the TV series, but I did find a lot of the main characters, sorry, not main characters, sorry, female characters, like, Zoya and Marie, and they were more likable in the show than in the book. So yeah, I did like that. This big revelation that Bagra is the Darkling's mother was very unexpected. Like, I don't know, like, it just came out of nowhere, but at the same time, I wish it had like been like a bigger deal. Like, I feel like that whole like revelation was just kind of brushed over and it could have had more impact, and I feel like it was that way in the show as well. Like, we could have had this huge like build up, huge like reveal, and it wasn't like that. So I wish, and I know they very faithfully like kind of copied the books for that part, so I get why the show is the same way as the book in that case. But yeah, I just wish that there was kind of more build up and more tension to that plot point because I really enjoyed that like big reveal, I guess. And yeah, I really wish Bagra was in more of it. I get that she's not really a main character, but I really liked her, and I really liked her in the show as well. And she did get actually a bit more, I think, screen time in the show than she did in the book, so I really liked that. Something that's mentioned in the book is mentioned in the show as well, but the Volcra were men before the Darkling's power kind of twisted them into these evil, people killing things. And I think it's so interesting that it kind of backfired on the Darkling. Like, he can't control them. He can't go into the fold and use the fold because he'd be destroyed by his own creation. And I really thought that was so interesting. And there's just so much you could pull out of that, like, symbolically. I'm not going to spend the time to do that. But yeah, that was such an interesting kind of contrast there. And in the show, they kind of take this further because the people who got turned into Volcra were the men that were there to kill the Darkling and the rest of the Grisha. So it's kind of like these monsters, murderers, hunters in real life got turned into actual monsters, and I thought that was really cool. Another kind of theme that the book touches on but doesn't really explore, but something that I really liked, there's a quote, I think, when Alina is looking into, okay, it's either the Darkling or Bagra's eyes, I don't remember, but yeah, she says, ceaseless black and yawning, the unending emptiness of a life lived too long. And it kind of makes you question, like, is immortality actually a gift? And I know fantasy often it kind of explores this theme further because we have so many immortal or like long living characters. We have like elves and vampires and warlocks and all that stuff. And so yeah, I really like this question, and it does make you think, like, is living that long actually a gift? Like, is it? I don't think I would want to live that long personally. Like, everyone around you dies, no one remembers you, like the whole, I don't know, I guess like the point of life, it would just start to feel pointless. Like, I don't know, but yeah, I really like that kind of mentioned that. And I think because the Darkling is affected by that, like he has no close relationships, and he's very much, he comes from that mindset of survival because he was the hunted before he became the hunter. And I really like that dynamic, and I do think it impacts kind of his mindset now going forward. So I mean, he's definitely evil, but I kind of see where he's coming from, which I like, because not all villains are like that or written like that in books and in TV shows, but like it kind of does show how he became who he is. So yeah, liked that. Something I was kind of confused about is, and this is in the book and the show, but does Mal have some sort of magical tracking ability, or is he just like somehow superhumanly good at tracking to the point where like no one else can track like him? Because I wasn't really confused about that. Like, is it magic? Is it not? Is it just like talent? Is it like, I don't know, because I don't, is it a skill he develops? But if that's the case, then anyone else should be able to be as good as him. So yeah, that point, very small, but like it kind of confused me. Now, I didn't make any notes in this book, so these notes are probably very like, or my points, sorry, are probably very kind of sporadic and all over the place and not in order, and that's fine. I'm just gonna get to the end of the book so I can go on and talk about the adaptation. But the end of this book is, a lot goes down. So the ending, Alina chooses not to kill the stag, and at first I was like, are you kidding me? Like, you came all this way to kill the stag, and now once you're standing in front of it, you can't do it, and you know that the Darkling is gonna kill it, and you know that it's gonna give him power that he doesn't need, doesn't, like, he can't have, or like, he's already too powerful. He's already, the phone is ringing. I don't know if you can hear that, but anyway, so yeah, I was so kind of annoyed. I couldn't even be mad though. Like, I'm so mad you didn't kill that thing, but I was like mad at her. I was like, oh my god, seriously, Alina, you could have avoided this whole situation if you just killed the stag, but no. But then you learn that because Alina had kind of held the stag's life in her hands before the Darkling even killed it. Like, she chose to spare it when she could have killed it. It gave her just as much power over the stag as the Darkling. So it's kind of interesting how, because he killed the stag, but they both kind of hold that power, he put the collar around her neck, but now he has access to her power. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but technically, actually, if you haven't read the second book yet, just like mute for the next 20 seconds. But basically, like, she technically has access to his magic too now, even though she doesn't know it yet. She doesn't find out until the second book. But yeah, so this whole thing, I thought it was so interesting how Leigh built up this dynamic where sparing something is just as powerful, gives you just as much power as ending someone's life. And I kind of really liked that message. So yeah, it's worth it to be good because it's just as powerful and just as strong as, the evil thing to do. I really didn't like in the book the non-consensual kissing scenes between the Darkling and Alina. I think there's 3 of them. I think only the third one's truly like, she is wearing the collar and he kisses her, and it just feels so wrong and gross, and like, but even the other 2, like, his kisses came out of nowhere, and even though like she didn't pull back, she didn't think it was gross, she's like, oh my god, like, he kissed me. I'm like, yeah, but like, that was out of nowhere. Like, he's like, sorry, I couldn't help myself, and I was like, excuse me, this is not the message you want to be sending to the readers. And I get that this book was like published a long time ago. Actually, I'm not even gonna use that as like, oh, I'm gonna like excuse it, but because there's still books today being published like that, like, let's be serious. But I do feel like, because I've read Leigh's kind of newer works, I do think that this isn't the message that she intended to get across. And so, yeah, I'm not going to put, too much attention on these non-consensual kissing scenes because they happen, unfortunately, in a lot of books. And I don't think that's the main message, again, that was intended to be across, and it has been kind of fixed or remedied. And definitely in the show, they added in that consent. Like, he's like, are you sure about this? And before they kiss. So, again, like, I do think that it's something they're working on. I'm not going to condemn the book for that. But I do see why some people have issues with that when they read this book. There was a line that Mal says to Alina. He says, I love you, Alina, even the part of you that loved him. And first of all, I really like this quote, but I don't think that there was ever really romantic love between Alina and the Darkling. At least not that I felt. I didn't see any chemistry there. But I think what she had with the Darkling was this desire to belong, this desire to, I don't know, for him, like this just desire, not love. I think love is the wrong word. But yeah, I really like this quote, and I think even though Mal and Alina have their issues with their relationship, especially with communication, oh my goodness, and both of them kind of blame each other for things that aren't their fault. Like, literally, Mal is like mad at Alina for being owned by the Darkling, and I'm like, do you think she really has a choice? Like, she would have left the palace a million times over if she had the choice by now, but anyway, yeah, so I really liked that quote. The ending, the very ending, Alina leaves all those people on the boat, or the skiff, or whatever it's called, to leave the fold with Val. She literally leaves all these innocent people behind to die with the Darkling. And it does haunt her going forward, but at the same time, I really love how those actions kind of make her more similar to the Darkling. Like, that's something the Darkling would have done, like, killed others to spare himself or save himself. And I get that Alina was not saving just herself, like, she was saving Mal as well, and she wanted to, like, she couldn't leave everyone behind without leaving, she couldn't leave the Darkling behind without leaving everyone else behind. And, yeah, so I really did like that dynamic at the end, where she's kind of turning into the Darkling, even though she doesn't want to be like him. And again, it kind of, like, I love it. There's just this dynamic here where the Darkling is evil, but you still like him, you still pity him, and, like, you kind of see what has twisted him into the person that he is. And yeah, so I really liked the ending of the book. Moving on to the show, the casting was like A+. I loved it. It was so good, especially the crows. Like, oh my goodness, like, just Inej and Kaz and Jesper were just perfect casting, in my opinion. They did so well. They looked their character, they acted their character. Yeah, the casting was just so well done, and I really liked how, even though the books are like super white, they did pull in a lot of people of color into the cast. So many, and I loved seeing it. And especially, we have a biracial female character, we have a main character, female character, and we have a biracial love interest, and I just really love how they're at the forefront, of the show. So yeah, that was really nice to see. Second best point of the show is Milo the goat. Enough said. I love him. Everyone loves him. Let's just move on. In the show, I really like how they tried to add kind of more depth and complexity to the Darkling's backstory by showing how he was, again, the hunted before he became the hunter, and when he kind of took on this extra power, this dark magic that he wasn't supposed to mess with, it was really to protect his people, to protect Grisha, because they were being hunted down and killed by the king. And so, again, like, he kind of accepted this power, kind of delved into this more dark, evil power that kind of twisted him into a colder, more evil person. He didn't do that out of, like, willing choice. Like, he wouldn't have become the evil person without being pursued in the first place like that, and I do really like how they showed that. At the same time, I do feel like the show had potential for more characterization, more in-depth characterization, but I can't really blame the show because I think they did a much better job than the book. Characterization was an issue that I had with the book in the first place too. I just feel like there could have been a lot more to the characters. They were kind of slightly, like, one-dimensional, but yeah, I do like that they kind of twisted this more, or kind of got more in depth in the show, and I'm kind of very curious to see how they do that in further seasons as well, because I think they'll do a really good job with it, and I'm excited. They also changed his name in the show, or at least, like, because for the entire first book, he's just called the Darkling. I'm not sure, again, well, and the second book too, he's just called the Darkling, but I don't know if his, like, name is revealed in the third book or not, but yeah, I don't know whether they just made up a name in the show, or whether that, again, the name is from maybe the third book where he's revealed, but yeah, I think they tried to, like, just kind of humanize him more and give him a name so that he's not just the Darkling, like, he's just, I don't know, it kind of, again, it humanizes him, makes him more relatable, more of a person. And so, yeah, I think that's what they were going for. But yeah, I kind of missed everyone calling him the Darkling in the show, but I get why they did that. The Crows section of the show, which, I mean, it was the most changed for the adaptation, obviously, because they can't show both series at the same time, really. Like, they had to focus on one or the other. So they focused on the first Shadow and Bone book, and they kind of set up the Six of Crows duology with season one, because obviously this happened. The events of season one for the Crows happens before the Six of Crows duology even starts. So it's basically like, I really like how you get to see how they meet Nina, and I really like how they kind of do a heist, even though it's not the heist that happens in Six of Crows. But I just think everyone did a fantastic job. I really liked it, and I really love Inej and Kaz, and I want them to be together so bad, which I wanted in the book as well. Not just the show, but I think the characters have amazing chemistry, and I really like them. And I just love the whole thing. I will say I did really like how you got to see how Matthias and Nina met, because I really liked them in the Six of Crows duology, but I felt like I don't know, like I felt like it was all character development and relationship development in their parts in the season one versus like actual plot, because nothing really happened. Like, not, it was just talking and them getting to know each other every single time they were on screen, which is fine, although their parts felt a little unnecessary, I guess, to the story. Like, it was just there to set up the Six of Crows duology, because you can't leave like the main characters out. But yeah, their parts, I feel like they're, I don't know. I don't know how they could have done it differently, honestly, but yeah, I still really enjoyed them, and it felt a little bit unnecessary. Like, they could have done more with their scenes, but yeah, that's just my opinion. Overall, like, really happy with the way it turned out. The ending is the last thing I want to talk about, because it had the most changes. Like, overall, I'm really impressed with how faithful the adaptation was. They kept a lot of scenes, a lot of dialogue. Like, it was a very faithful adaptation. The ending, was the most changed. And again, this is because, the Crows had to be involved. Maybe they had, they had to do things a little differently. And one of the, I don't know, like, I feel like I liked the book's ending a bit better for a couple of reasons. One of these things is Alina's awareness of what's going on. So in the book, she knows that the Darkling is, plans to control her using the amplifier. And in the show, I feel like she just like blindly went along, kept thinking the Darkling was going to do the right thing. When in the books, it's kind of, I think, more tension and more anger at the Darkling, because she knows that she's being used. She knows that his intentions aren't good. Whereas in the show, like, up until like the very last minute, she did think he had good intentions. So yeah, I didn't really like that part. Also in the show, he gets this token put in his hand when she has the collar. In the show, she has like the I don't know, like the collar is not really a collar. It's like the antlers that get put in her collarbone, which looks very disgusting. But in the books, it's like a smooth collar that's around her neck that she can't take off. Which honestly, I kind of like the idea of just like the symbolism of a collar. But anyway, I don't know why they chose to change that, but I'm assuming they had a reason, or they just thought it looked cooler. Who knows? But yeah, why did he have a token in his hand? Because the token gets not shot out, but like Inej throws a knife. I think it's a knife, right? Maybe it does get shot out. Either way, he loses the token, and I don't understand why there was even a token to begin with, because he can still access Alina's magic after he loses the token. Like, and the token also doesn't make sense, because it's not just that he has the token and he can, access her magic. Again, spoilers for book 2, so maybe just just mute for the next 10 seconds if you don't want to be spoiled, but she can access his magic too. And so with a token, that makes no sense when later on you learn that she can do that. Yeah, so I don't know, it was kind of weird. I feel like moving into season 2, it might be a little more confusing maybe for people who hadn't read the books first, for kind of the way that this collar and their kind of accessing magic works, how his controlling her magic works. Like, I feel like it'll be a little more confusing for people who maybe haven't read the books and don't kind of know what's going on. But yeah, again, that's like kind of small points, but I was like, wait, what's going on? The last thing is, in the show, the Darkling kills everyone on the skiff. Like, he's the one that kills everyone, and Lena and Mal and the Crows flee. And to be honest, like, I did like this whole epic battle final thing where the Darkling, dies, whatever, gets taken up by the Volcra. And I really do like, I think Mal had a line where, oh yeah, you're getting killed by your own creation. Like, your past, he's like, I don't have to kill you, your past will do that for me. I really like that line, but at the same time, I do wish that we had Alina, who intentionally like leaves the Darkling and everyone else behind on the skiff and kills them all. Um, ironically, she kills everyone except the Darkling. But yeah, so yeah, I just again I didn't. I wish they would have kept it the same as the books, but I get why they couldn't because they were trying to incorporate the crows and maybe they have different limitations. I don't know. I've never adapted a book into a TV series. Maybe there's things that I haven't even thought about that the producers and the writers and stuff have to think about. But yeah, those are just some small changes that I didn't really like at the end of the show. But overall, I am so impressed with the Six of Crows season one. Six of Crows, sorry. I'm impressed with Shadow and Bone season one, and I'm really excited for them to get into like the Six of Crows duology plot and just the whole thing. I'm so excited for it. So I think they did a really good job, and I'm so excited moving forward. And that is where I'm gonna leave off this video. I'm sure I'm missing stuff that I want to talk about, but my mind's a jumble. Can't think of everything. Can't remember everything. And again, I didn't make any notes, so that's kind of my own fault. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time with another video. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, like, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thanks, guys. Bye.